Transmutate is the first episode to come after the tragedy of Code of Hero. But aside of one line, there's no mention of that. Probably because there's a whole lot of trouble coming. It starts with Megatron taking a nap while mainlining Energon or something. Not really sure, but the important thing is he no longer has to worry about his arm plotting against him. Instead, Rampage is, although that's to be expected from A, a Predacon, B, a psychopath, and C, anyone who is held as a slave. Rampage tries to steal his spark back and, I don't know, swallow it or something to put it back, but he gets caught and has to suffer the old soul squeeze for his misbehavior. That out of the way, we cut to Cheetor, Rat Trap, and Silverbolt, who are out investigating a supposed Predacon jamming station, and their presence makes Megatron think that his lackey can go vent his frustrations at some Maximals. That's the best thing about having enemies, after all, to serve as a chew toy for your pit bulls. But that might not happen. There's earthquakes all over the place. Not a problem for two of the three, but the one who complains the most is in the most danger here. Cheetor rushes in to save him, but there's some kind of energy surge that knocks them both out of the sky and has a mountain fall on them. Wow. Days like today, it's not hard to think the universe is out to get you personally. The earthquake reveals a stasis pod that had previously been buried, and naturally, Megatron wants that like it's the last peanut butter cup on a tray of orange nougat. Like that analogy? I always come up with them when I'm waiting for food to be delivered. Inferno is first on the scene, but Silverbolt shows up and monologues at him before attacking. And being a chivalrous being with a strict sense of honor, he picks Inferno up, flies into the air, and drops him. Now I shall gallantly fly down and kick him in the groin. During the distraction, Rampage is drawn to the pod, wondering aloud if this is another like him. A good question, and if so, would they fight or do the nasty? I could see it going either way here. Silverbolt returns, a bit braver than when these two last met, during which Silverbolt proved it's possible for a robot to shit itself. The occupant of the pod finally bursts free, suggesting that the occupant of the pod might have been the cause of all the quakes, which means it's incredibly powerful. Or it's Rumble. That would have been a surprise twist, wouldn't it? But no, the occupant has now emerged, and Rat Trap has a good view of it.
Magnificent. Man, I am telling you, the things coming out of these pods is just getting weirder and weirder.
I can't argue with that. It's like someone said, you know, Slender Man is scary, but what if he was also a cyborg? Rampage wants the newcomer to join him, but Silverbolt says to join them instead. A difficult decision, made easier by Inferno showing up and shooting the newcomer like a dumbass. It unleashes a horrendous scream that disables everybody, except for Rampage, because either Megatron has his spark, or he's just used to being screamed at. He dubs the new bot Transmutate, a name he works out methodically, which is a surprise because like a minute earlier he calls it Transmutate like it's obvious that that's the bot's name. But Rampage has weird insights. Maybe he read the episode title and made an educated guess. Inferno interrupts and, given his devotion to his queen, is prepared to fight his own teammate for the glory of bringing back the prize. But that's when we get...
Incoming message from the big giant head.
Yep, Megatron shows up in all his typical humility, so that he can look the newcomer over.
You, what is your name?
Transmutate.
Transmutate. An ugly name for an ugly creature.
Words hurt, Megatron. Words hurt. Still, he can't resist finding out what Transmutate can turn into. So after a demonstration, Transmutate tries, and fails, to change form.
It cannot even transform. This thing is useless.
Yeah, all it can do is give off a scream that causes earthquakes. Why can't it do something impressive like turning into a cockroach? Megatron wants Transmutate disposed of, but Rampage wants to keep it anyway. He's attracted to its damaged spark. So Megatron agrees to give it a chance to take the heads of the Maximals that were in the area. Probably literally. It's clear Megatron loves the image of his own head, so maybe he likes having others around too. Optimus Primal and Silverbolt are searching the area, unaware that Rampage has set a trap. Transmutate plays possum and Silverbolt comes in to rescue it, only to get blasted by the other two Predacons. So that just leaves time for the decapitation. But Transmutate is having trouble with that, like asking a dog if it wants to do the laundry. Rampage tries explaining, but Inferno is overeager and knocks Transmutate out of the way to do it himself. Transmutate blasts Inferno with its scream, to the amusement of Rampage, who enjoys seeing any of these assholes get slapped around. Predacon, Maximal, it doesn't matter to him. Before they can finish off Silverbolt, though, Optimus comes to the rescue, taking out Rampage, and Silverbolt intervenes before Transmutate blasts Optimus with the Shriek of the Damned. He's still pretty messed up, though, and needs help, so Transmutate takes him up and flies him alongside Optimus back to base. It also means that there's a chance to look the newcomer over and see what the deal is. Rat Trap, of course, can't stop making cracks about Transmutate.
I wonder what Fearless Leader found out about the tire plug.
Ratface?
No offense, whatever you are.
No disrespect, I'm just saying you're a big freak is all. But the news isn't much better. The extensive damage its mind and Spark have suffered means that it is very limited. It can't be helped, and given the power, it's a serious danger. Rhinox thinks indefinite stasis lock is probably the only option, but Silverbolt is outraged, and not helped by Transmutate breaking out at the prompting of Rampage.
Uh-oh, it looks like the Nutty Erector set took a walk.
Sometimes you're a stitch. And a lot of the times, though, like now, you're just an ass. Silverbolt heads out after it and winds up in a fight with Rampage, much to the chagrin of Transmutate. Both fire missiles at each other, but Transmutate gets in the way to try to stop them. The shield it creates works for a little while, but eventually it falls and Transmutate gets blasted to bits. Rampage is outraged and Silverbolt is sickened at the waist, so they're going to call this one a wipe and just head home. The end. Transmutate has a darkness to it, but it is intriguing, and it packs a lot into just a little bit of time. And it's impressive the way it shows the appeal of the newcomer to the darkest and lightest Transformers in the show. One seeing hope, the other seeing pain. Transmutate can't understand things, so it can't comprehend how both of its friends can be such bitter enemies. That adds to the bittersweet nature of the work and the tragedy of Transmutate's existence. It's no surprise the character left an impression despite the solitary appearance, being released as a bonus with the 10th anniversary figures of Beast Wars, as well as getting a special alternate universe form, where the character wasn't damaged and thus a standard Transformer. It speaks of the way the character can instill both a sense of creepiness while also being a target of compassion.
All hail the Overlord! All hail the Overlord!
I approve.